Some habits seem harmless, but they're not. Research shows that certain everyday interactions, when we think are harmless, can cause emotional stress in dogs. And over time, that stress chips away at their trust in ways most owners never notice. Let's go through the ones you need to stop ASAP. Moving their bed or safe spot. Picture this, it's 1 a.m., you're exhausted, and you just want your bed, but it's been moved. How irritating would it be if your bed had been moved? Where is it gone? What's going on? So that's something pet parents should avoid doing to their dog if they can. It might seem harmless to move their bed across the room or switch it for a new one. Because where your pup flops down for the night is totally random, right? Not really. Most dogs actually put a lot more thought and consideration into where they sleep than you might think. Surveys from the American Kennel Club found that dogs often pick locations with what they call command position. Basically, that's a spot where they can watch multiple rooms at once. So, spoiler alert, closed doors can be a big problem for dogs. But this is why moving their bed can make them feel cut off from what's going on, or even vulnerable. And this is all without touching upon the all-important factor of smell. That's right, it's the regular time in the video, the time when we have to discuss your dog's boopable, powerful snout. Your dog's sense of smell is so strong that they can even detect emotional residue in scent. Their bed smells like them, and their own smell implies safety to them. That's why they are so heck-bent on spreading it everywhere. So if you wash or relocate their bed too often, you're accidentally erasing that scent and, sadly, the sense of security that comes with it. That doesn't mean you can never move the bed. Just know that it can feel like an emotional reset to your dog. So you might have to prep to comfort them when the time comes. When you do move it, try placing it near where your dog naturally rests, and give them a chance to re-scent it by letting them lie on it right away and wriggle their smelly belly as it were all over it. Hugging too tightly or crowding their space. Hugs are magic. Who doesn't like a hug? It seems like the perfect way to let your perfect pup know how much you adore them. You scoop them up in your arms, tightly squeezing their perfect fluffy selves, and to you it feels great. But this is a classic example of a culture clash between the ways of people and the ways of dogs. Your best pal doesn't really understand hugs. And if you're thinking, this is all wrong, Smelly Belly doesn't know what I'm talking about, my dog loves hugs. There is a chance your dog is an exception. But what is much more likely is that they love you so much they're simply tolerating a hug because you seem to like it. The University of British Columbia looked at 250 photos of people hugging their dogs. It was part of a study. They weren't just doing it for fun. They determined that over 81% of the dogs showed visible signs of stress. Everything from flattened ears and wide eyes to licking their lips and turning away. All signs your dog not enjoying that hug, even if they're enduring it for your sake. But why? Well, from a dog's point of view, being wrapped up and squeezed in your arms can feel confusing, even threatening, because you are essentially pinning them. What some pet parents might not realize is that dogs heavily rely on body space for communication. So when robbed of that space, it also feels like they've lost their voice. Think of that from your perspective. Imagine being pinned and unable to move or speak. That's what an overly tight hug can feel like to a dog. It takes away their voice. Now, of course, some dogs learn to tolerate it with their favorite person. That may be why your dog seems to love hugs. But even then, too tight or too long can be uncomfortable. If you want to say what you think you're saying when you hug them, but in a way that translates a bit more smoothly into dog language, I would recommend soft petting or a gentle scritch around the ears. Sure, if you tried to comfort an upset human friend by scratching them behind the ears, that'd be mad. But remember, it's all about syncing with dog culture. Changing routines without warning. There is perhaps nothing dogs adore quite as much as consistency. It's a scary, chaotic world out there, so having systems and routines they can try is like having a roadmap through it all. To be fair, this applies to a lot of people as well. A study in applied animal behavior science found that dogs actually show spikes in cortisol, which is the name of the body's stress hormone, when their usual routine changes by as little as an hour. Late to feed them because you got held up at work? Your dog notices, and it bothers them. Taking them for a walk 2 hours later than usual? Your dog feels that deeply. This might seem odd because surely dogs can't read clocks, right? But the reason why they do seem to know what time it is and can feel that the schedule is unraveling is because they use what behaviorists call event-based time. This means they anchor their sense of the day to things like the sound of your alarm, the jingle of the leash, and the smell of your morning coffee. They learn your rhythms and base their understanding of the whole world on those rhythms. So when things are unfolding differently, it's like all of reality is crumbling. While this is true for all dogs, needing a consistency of routine is all the more critical in senior dogs. Sadly, as our canine pals age, their cognitive flexibility declines. This means changing routines can cause even more confusion than when they were young, and that can escalate into agitation and, at worst, aggression. Some behaviorists call this canine sundown syndrome, a state where even small routine changes trigger distress in older dogs. And if an elderly dog is struggling with it, the slightest disruption of routines can lead to restlessness. As much as life allows, try to keep your dog's key routine steady. Their emotional world depends on it. And so does never having a door close on them. Closing doors between you for no reason. This might seem silly, but for some dogs, having a closed door between them and you can really bother them. You and your dog are alone in the house. You close the bathroom door behind you. No big deal to you, but to them, you can feel like the pack has been split. You need to brush your teeth, so you go into the bathroom and shut the door. It should be no big deal. But most dogs operate under a pack mentality. You and they are part of a team. When they're sealed on the other side of the door, it can feel like the pack has been divided by a blocker. They are such group creatures that this can trigger low-level stress in some dogs, with studies showing dogs often pace or sit facing the door even when you're just in the next room. Because they do not necessarily understand why the door is closed. All they know is that a member of their group has separated from them for no clear reason. And they are as loyal as loyalty comes. No man must be left behind. Of course, you cannot have the bathroom door open all the time. Some things are private for a reason. But if you have a dog who struggles with it, a nice idea is to have a quick word or petting session to reassure them that all is well in their world before you close that door. Over-comforting during anxiety. This one is perhaps the most surprising of all, something that shocks a lot of pet parents. Let's say Thor is doing his thing, and there is a night of apocalyptic storm raging outside. Your hypothetical dog, let's call him Woofy McGruff, is scared and hiding under your hypothetical table. They're trembling, they're whining, so of course you rush in and pour attention all over them. It feels like you're helping. But a little like hugs, some pet parents can misjudge this, and sometimes they might actually make things worse. Experts in dogs, not thunderstorms, warn that overly affectionate responses in moments of fear can actually reinforce the anxiety. The emotional energy gets mirrored back, and this creates a weird sort of feedback loop of anxiety. In short, your dog learns that feeling anxious brings extra attention, so naturally that can heighten their reaction next time. The best thing to do in such a hypothetical scenario is to be calm and confident instead. Sit nearby, act relaxed, maybe offer a soothing low-pitched word or treat distraction. But stay grounded. Your dog looks to you for cues. If you're calm, soon they will be as well. Your dog forgives fast, but they remember how you make them feel. If you want to rebuild what those little habits chipped away, the next video shows exactly how.